kicking us off, but the lecture of goal setting. Setting a goal is so important. We need a compass, and we also need a landmark so we know when to celebrate our success. So you can see her bio, which is very long, and I probably am not well versed in it, but something like around visiting and training in 70 countries and multiple books coming out, and I feel like I'm like, I have a lot to do. I'm going to be embarrassed the first time that we go training next week. But I'm okay. I'm going to start with myself and meet myself where I am. No judgment, Terri. But without further ado, I know that you're just going to lead us, and we're so grateful for your expertise and all that you are. And the fact that you live in our town is just amazing, and we're just grateful to have you. So could you share a little bit about who you are and your history and a little bit? Okay. Kind of come out? Okay. All right, let's I'm not going to give you a break, so go ahead and stand up and let's welcome Terri.
You gonna be clicker person?
Yeah, I'll be the clicker. So if you just give me like a signal or
Okay.
something, yeah.
All right, am I on?
Yeah.
Are we on? Is my mic on? I have a loud voice. So, wow, this is exciting. I mean, I've talked to these guys, they've given me a rundown, and I always walk away feeling like, wow, I can't quite get my head wrapped around how incredible this program is. So my topic today is we are going to be talking about goal setting in a slightly different way, and I'm going to give you a tool to use that you can take away and work with for the next 12 weeks. How's that? Am I getting any feedback? Are we okay? Okay, good. But my topic today has a slightly different twist to it. It's on doing amazing. And the cool thing about my topic is that it's the perfect segue into thanking Michelle and Lita for putting this incredible program together. So let's go ahead and just thank them really quickly. Woo! Wow! Because I also want to thank them before I get started. I also want to thank them for inviting me to participate in this program. And Lita's introduction was a little nebulous, but my love is working with all kinds of folks. My love is inspiring people to get out and do whatever they get excited about. And that doesn't have anything to do with your level of expertise in any particular area. It has to do with passion and taking action. That's what I'm into, passion and taking action. So one of the things I'm excited about today and sharing is that you guys get to see just a handful of images of some really cool stuff. So we obviously live in a cool place in Santa Cruz here, but I've had an opportunity to travel around the world. Actually, the country count, I think, is up to about 85 now. And so we're going to take a little trip around the world as I share with you, just really briefly. And yes, that is me right here. I'm that person. And I don't think you have a program for rappelling across a waterfall in the Australia outback. Maybe we'll have to work on that next time. Maybe Australia, you guys are going to Australia. So we're going to be looking at some images, talking about amazing. And I want to start with sharing that just like most of you, just like all the companies that are involved in this program, we're all really fortunate, and I'm fortunate to have been surrounded by people doing amazing things in their life. Amazing things can be anything from, and yeah, that's me, but I do coach a lot of athletes who train for their first Ironman triathlon. Triathletes who start out, maybe the first year they're doing the sport, they go on to do an Ironman. Amazing is also taking a swimmer for the first time who's a new swimmer, new to the pool, and taking them out in the ocean. I love this shot. It's a great shot. Or someone who, right now I'm consulting with a woman who's been dealing with chronic illness for years, and she's starting to get her bravery back in coming back to starting a running program, something that she used to do a long time ago. So all of these people, to me, are incredibly amazing, and I'm really fortunate to be surrounded by them. All of them are people just like you, people just like me. People in Santa Cruz, the companies involved in this program, the people doing the program, doing incredible things in their lives. The other thing that I've noticed, though, being around people who do amazing things, is that one of the things, and one of the ladies up here alluded to this, is one of the things that's really important when we're taking on doing amazing things in our life is that we need to be reminded that we're amazing. And we need to be reminded that we're actually going out and doing incredible things. So one of the things I wanted to do on the front end is congratulate you all for signing up for this. I mean, this is really almost kind of like, whoa, I can't quite, grasp what's going on here. What an incredible opportunity. And for all of you to decide that over the next 12 weeks, you're going to push those lines back, kind of blur the lines around your box, maybe crawl out of your cave and see what's out there. I want to congratulate you for doing that. Go ahead and go back for a second. I love that shot. And one of the metaphors to this shot is that whether we are someone who every day gets up and takes on their life, or someone who really struggles with doing that on a daily basis, we need to be reminded that it's possible, that we can have days, moments, mornings, where we're kind of in our little cave and we're like, I really don't feel like going to boot camp. I really don't want to get up and kind of make that happen. So we kind of hang out in the cave and maybe we look and, oh, that's boot camp right there. Yeah, but you know what? It's actually pretty warm in here and it looks pretty cold out there. And I'm just not really sure if I want to make that happen. Doing amazing is about shutting that brain off, just mechanically getting up, throwing on your clothes, and getting out the door. That's it. A little quick tip for you. One of the things that I do to cause that to happen, and I'm actually someone who can sort of jump out of bed and sort of go out the door. I'm blessed that way, I think. But I actually put my clothes that I'm going to throw on in a little pile right next to my bed. And I literally get up, and I put my clothes on, and I'm ready. And then I do the toothbrushing and whatever else needs to happen. But congratulate yourselves for being here today. Today you might still feel like, even though you've had an incredible weekend, you might still feel like you're kind of in the cave here and you're not quite sure what's going to go on out there. So I want to give you 2 tools that you can work with. One of them this evening I'm going to be sharing about, and the other one is something that I'll explain and that you can take away and use on your own. So the first thing, 2 tools, again, the kayak thing, and go ahead and go to the next slide. The first one I want to share is 12 lessons, things, essences of ourselves, thoughts, whatever you want to call them, things that we derive from doing amazing stuff. And again, I want you to consider amazing not necessarily rappelling across a waterfall in the outback. I want you to consider amazing that you got up in the morning and you put your clothes on and you went to boot camp. That is amazing. Everybody else who didn't sign up for this program isn't even here today. You guys are one step ahead of them. So doing amazing is hitting your goals most of the time and adapting when they don't happen and allowing that to be okay. So I want to give you 12 things that we take away from taking on our life every day in a way that will allow us to blur those lines, push back the limitations that we place on ourselves. And hopefully you can take those into the next 12 weeks along with the tool that I'm going to give you. So let's go ahead and dive into this. First thing, and yes, here I am, choose endeavors which you have deep gut passion, and then expect that your passion will be repeatedly challenged. This is an important one for me, something I've learned. Now, one of the things I know is that a lot of you are going to be doing things in the next 12 weeks that won't necessarily be like, oh, I'm so incredibly stoked to go to boot camp or try Pilates maybe. Okay, maybe not. Maybe you just want to give it a shot, or maybe you're just doing it for health or fitness reasons. That's all okay. Whatever it is that you take on, you will actually be challenged doing those things, and that's okay. So don't expect that it's just going to sort of go along and you're going to get up every day and everything's sort of going to go hunky-dory. Anytime you take on something amazing like Santa Cruz Challenge, your passion for doing this program will be challenged. And that's okay. Our tenacity, endurance, and grit cause us to find comfort in discomfort. Here's what that means. So I did this race in the Gobi Desert in northern China, and with 7-day running stage race, we're self-supported, so I had to carry everything on my back for 7 days that I needed for the entire time that I was out there. What had happened before going into this event is that I had done many years of traveling, racing in really difficult climates and remote parts of the planet. Now, and I wasn't super stoked that we had to run across a salt flat and crawl through waist-deep muck that kind of reminds me of quicksand, but I just did it. And I knew that I knew how to do it, and I could deal with it, and it was really hot out, and I knew how to take care of myself. So what happens over time when we keep putting ourselves out there, we keep enduring our lives, we keep getting out every day, taking on new challenges, and creating a tenacious mindset, is that we start to become comfortable with this type of thing. So very exciting. Go to the next one. Create a plan, then adapt well as your plan changes up. So I'm going to be giving you one way that you can start to create a plan, really to target the main objectives that you want to take away from this program. So guess what? You're going to create this plan, and you're going to be all excited, and you're going to put it on your refrigerator or in front of your desk, and you're going to be super stoked, and things are going to go wrong. Things are going to change. Life's going to show up, and you're going to have to change the plan. That's okay. So I'm giving you permission to be okay with that before we even get started, okay? So we want plans, we want goals. They will be dynamic. And how that looks for us is the mindset we bring into cutting ourselves some slack and letting ourselves adapt and change to our environment as we go. Yes, this is my team in Borneo, stuck under a 400-pound canoe. There's a story to it. I won't go into it today. It was quite miserable, actually. Our naysayers, mistakes, and failures are our best teachers. Remain open to learning well. We will make mistakes. We will fail. And there are people out there who are going to be saying to you, you're crazy for signing up for this program. You may even know someone right now who said that to you. That's okay. I mean, I would say, find some other folks to hang out with in general. But really, these people allow us to really evaluate what's important to us. They allow us to learn patience. They allow us to accept another's point of view. They also allow us to accept ourselves when we fail at something. When we fail at something, the tendency is to go back into our cave and say, I can't anymore. Rather, see that failure as a way to learn. What could I have done better? What could I have done to cause this thing to go the way that I want it to go? That's your teacher, you being your best teacher. Take risks by stepping into the unknown with calculated steps, then step again and again. The topic of risk-taking is a favorite of mine. I wrote my master's thesis on risk-taking, so I could go long on this, but it is one of the reasons I put this image up. So I did another one of these running races in the Sahara Desert. And again, I had done adventure racing, Ironman triathlons all over the globe, climbed mountains. I'd been in every kind of climate that the planet throws down. And then I go to the Sahara Desert, and we had unseasonably hot weather that fall in the Sahara. So here I am running, and we had to run 7 days, anywhere from 18 to 50 miles a day. It's 120 degrees out. It was scary. I was scared. So I went into this, and I was scared. So what I did is I decided to just take one step at a time. Here I am right now. I have water. I'm taking care of myself. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. My pace feels good. I'm taking an enormous risk because it's incredibly terrifying to be out there. And I'll tell you what, I gotta say, you see all these old movies where they drop the dude in the middle of the Sahara Desert and he climbs back and rescues the maiden or whatever? That ain't happening out there, I'll tell you right now. You get stuck for a couple hours, you are dead meat. Seriously. It's really serious stuff. So what we do then, when we take risk, we do scary things. We step into something we haven't done before. You just take baby steps. Now, the really cool thing about Santa Cruz Challenge is that these guys are helping you along the way. So not only can you take little baby steps every day into what you're doing, you have an enormous amount of support, just like I did in this race. So that really helps our process enormously. Risk-taking and being in the unknown doesn't have to be terrifying. It can just be something that we do step by step each day. Your greatest joys will come when you support others in doing amazing. One of the reasons that I'm here today sharing with you is because I love my work. I love being inspired by people taking action in their lives. So you guys are all inspiring to me. People say this to me in my life. I've heard it a lot. And I do need to learn, there's a little self-disclosure, to accept compliments better. That's something that I'm working on. But what I want to say to you, because people say to me, oh, you're so inspiring, you go out and do all these things. People that are inspiring to me are people that are just taking action, people that are stepping up and looking at their lives and looking at how they can actually expand what they're up to. There's an enormous amount of joy in that. And I want to encourage you all, not only with your accountability buddies, but with anyone else in the program that you might come across that maybe you have a connection with or not. Support them in what they're up to. Ask them how it's going. Do they need any help? Maybe their accountability buddies aren't working for them. Maybe you can step in and help them do that. That process will enhance your experience in the next 12 weeks enormously, I guarantee you. You get that tough stuff happens and that's okay. So yesterday, I was working with a client of mine who is a competent swimmer, but she's new to swimming in the ocean. And so we went out for our second session together, and she's struggling with fear. She knows how to swim fine. When she gets out in the ocean, she has an enormous amount of fear. So we get out, and I'm working with her on creating self-talk and learning how to control her thoughts so she can pull herself back from the fear and think about other things like counting and sighting, things like that. So we got in about 5-10 minutes into it. She just stops and says to me, I'm just overwhelmed by my fear. And I noticed her body language, and I really got that she was fighting the fear. That's what I saw. She was trying to make it go away. Now, we all know that we can't really do that with fear. We can't necessarily just sort of push it to the side and hopefully. So what I said to her is I said, give yourself permission to be afraid. All of a sudden, she just took a deep breath. So she was having a really, really tough moment, and I allowed her to allow herself to make it okay. I think that's all we have to do. You have days when you're not going to want to participate. That's okay. It's going to feel tough. Just do it anyway. But acknowledge that it's feeling difficult. Tell your accountability buddy, text them and say, I don't want to go today to this thing we're supposed to do. Allow that to be okay for me. You cannot want to go and still go ahead and show up, okay? So it's okay that it's tough. Strive to be a master at your craft by remaining a beginner. I think this is why a lot of you are here. All of us in this room are an expert at something in our lives, something that we do within ourselves, within our work, within our family, within our communities. Stretching ourselves, learning new things, really pushing our boundaries out, brings back to the things that we're really awesome at, the things that we're a master at, that we're expert at. It enhances even greater the things that we do well. Trying new things allows us to broaden and expand who we are in everything that we do. So I applaud you for showing up and being a beginner by trying all of these new things. Doing amazing stuff really teaches us that we can pull enormous amount of quality from doing beginner stuff into the expert stuff that we really take on. Let go of the outcome to achieve your best outcome. So here I am again back at the Hawaii Ironman. So I raced triathlon professionally for 10 years, And Ironman distance was my forte. For those of you that don't know, an Ironman is a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a marathon, followed by a marathon. That was my forte. I did 22 Ironman triathlons as a professional triathlete. I raced in Kona 10 times at the Hawaii Ironman. So in this race in particular, something happened that for a lot of folks would completely cause a freak out. Now I had been working on mental training. I have my master's in sports psychology, so I had been working on my mental training an enormous amount in months leading up to this particular event. And what I was really trying to focus on was being present. That's it. Being here right now. That's all what I was working on. That was it. Evaluating my process, my pace, my nutrition, everything. Being here right now. So what happened during the race is my watch stopped working about somewhere on the bike ride. I don't know what happened, it just stopped. I had no numbers, I had no, can you imagine nowadays, people, seriously, I coach people I had a client once who completely melted down in a race because his heart rate monitor stopped working. He didn't know what to do. And so one of the good fortunes of being a little bit older and having grown up as an athlete, learning how to race and pace and train by intuition, I just all of a sudden, all the mental training that I had done just came full circle for me. Now I didn't even have to look at my watch anymore. Didn't even have to look. What a cool thing that was. So now I was just really present to now. What do I need at the next aid station? How is my pace? How far ahead is the next person? Checking in, keeping my mind positive, keeping myself present. I never thought about the finish line because what I knew, what I really got in this race was that if I'm present now doing my best race today at this moment, what happens at the finish line will be my best result. If you show up every day for Santa Cruz Challenge, giving your best shot to whatever you want to take away from the program, every day you show up and you throw down, what happens in the end will be the best thing for you. I guarantee you. I ended up getting third place in this race, third woman, and my best time. Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So that was exciting to come around the corner on Elite E Drive in Kona and see my time on the clock, and very, very exciting. So we become what we think. Take responsibility for your own perception of yourself, and you will gain one of the elixirs in life and sport, confidence. I think confidence is one of the elixirs in life and sport if you're someone who's doing amazing stuff. Another quick story. So I'm smiling in this picture. It's a little, like, hey, sit over there and I'll take a picture of you, or we're going to climb this mountain. You can't get perspective here. This is Aconcagua in Argentina, the highest peak in Argentina, just under 23,000 feet. We're going to climb this mountain. So as we were hiking in to base camp, which is it's kind of tucked over here behind this rock, like over here. That's base camp, and then we're going to go up here. We're going to go to the top right there. Now, it doesn't look like it, but I'll tell you right now, that is a long-ass way to go, okay? So again, I'm experienced. I've been an athlete. I've stood on podiums all over the planet. I was terrified. Doubt, fear, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to do it. All these things. So what I realized was I was responsible for my view of myself as I went into this. I could either allow myself to freak out and make this a horrible thing, or I could come back to what I knew. You know what you're doing? You're fit, you're ready. Just be here making this happen. Go ahead and do it. Come back to logical, come back to strategy. You don't have to be a cheerleader. Oh my God, I'm awesome. I'm going to make the top. I can't believe I'm so awesome. We don't have to do that. We can just go, here I am now. I'm eating today. I'm hydrating. I'm acclimating properly. I'm trying to take care of myself, my pace, my gear. Everything is good. And then what happens is you make the summit. So this is what it looks like at the top of South America, which is pretty cool. And these are a couple of really good buddies of mine that I like to do adventures with, so that's a really special moment. All right, our final one ends in a whiteout on Denali. How do you guys feel about that? There are no absolutes or guarantees while doing amazing. That's part of what makes amazing so amazing. If this were easy stuff, if being an incredible human being, if going through 12 weeks of expansion was super easy, wouldn't everybody do it? No, that's what makes it so special. That's what makes you so special for being here and really taking this on. So what I want to do now is I want to take this concept that there are no absolutes, and I want to give you a tool where you can try and create some absolutes. How does that sound? But then what you're going to do within this process is you're going to create this plan of creating your amazing self for the next 12 weeks. And then you're going to take the plan and you're going to refer to it every day, and it's going to be adaptable and dynamic, and you're going to use it as a motivator. You're going to use it as a motivator. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So that's actually higher on Denali where there wasn't a whiteout. And then let's go to the next one. Yeah, so I'm just throwing in a couple more shots here. And then go ahead and click again. So this is what we got. Santa Cruz Challenge 2014, creating your amazing self. Now this is a kind of a combination of some other forms like this that I've used for different types of processes, and it's one that I use with clients a lot, and it's one that I've used myself quite a bit. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this, and then I have an example of how this can look that you guys can reference. Okay, and I'll send these to these guys on email, and they can send you guys the PDFs, and then you can take them. Now, as you put your creating your amazing self together, you're more than welcome to email me if you need any support on the language, because I'm going to share with you why that's really important. So, I, Terri Schneider, am 3 adjectives. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick 2 adjectives that you feel pretty solid about. I want them to be powerful. I want them to feel like, yeah, I'm those 2 things. Pick one also that you're striving for in the next 12 weeks. Something that you've been kind of niggling around, yeah, I really need to work on that, but I've kind of put it on a shelf for like 20 years, so I'm not going to go there. So let's take it off the shelf and let's go ahead and play with it on our form. So for me, I might pick, I am strong, confident, and patient. Okay, those would be good ones for me. All right, so, and then we're going to name the project. Go ahead and click again. Now I'm going to pull up the sample, and this will help me explain a little bit better how this works. This sample was done by a client of mine who raced Arizona Ironman in 2012. And she was motivated, consistent, and she was working on her confidence. So the name of the project, for the name of the project, this is important. I want you to choose something that's sort of fun, keep it kind of light. Unless you're super intense like me and you really want to go heavy, you can go heavy on that. But keep it light, but pick something that you've really have been feeling stuck on and make that kind of your driving goal. Like ultimately, I'm going to overcome this enormous hurdle. And I'll explain that now. So she chose, the name of her project was Operation Deep End. And here's why. So this woman had a fear of the deep end in the pool for her whole life. Now she was a triathlete, and she went on to learn how to swim and swim in open water. She even won her age group in triathlons a bunch of times. And she decided to take on this Ironman process. But she still had this thing, this anchor. You know what I'm talking about? That thing that you drag around with you, like, I'm afraid of the deep end. And it caused her to not have confidence in other areas of her life. Now, I don't think I have to tell you guys, well, if you're afraid of the deep end, why would you not have confidence in other areas of your life? You know how this works. There's this thing that you feel like isn't okay about who you are. And for her, it was like she wasn't okay as an athlete because she was afraid of the deep end. So she decided that after she completed her Ironman, she wasn't going to be afraid of the deep end anymore. So I'm going to tell you, now it's 2014. This is in the fall of 2012 when she did this race. She and her boyfriend now, on their vacations, are traveling around the world scuba diving. Yeah. So I think it happened. I think it happened for her. All right. So here, this is a contract that you are making with yourself. So we got our name of our project, and it says, I'm committed to achieving my personal greatness in the next 8 months. For you guys, you got 12 weeks. And I'm going to do these measurable results I will obtain and actions I will take in the next 12 weeks. The key word is measurable. What does measurable mean? Numbers. Something you can grab. I have 3 pieces of paper in my hand. That is a measurable thing. Okay, I have a pointer in my right hand. I'm very specific, and I'm measuring. There's 1 pointer in my right hand. It's really critical that you use language, and this is what they teach you also in sports psychology. Language is really critical, how you're talking to yourself, what that looks like. So what she's going to do, for example, I'll be performing weekly speed work in my run workouts, and then she chose words, fast, lean, and centered for the 3 sections that she's working with here. Now the key word here you're going to see throughout, and I helped her with this. So she put this together, and then I coached her in creating the language to be the most effective. I will. Not I want to, or I'm going to try. Trying doesn't mean anything. You're either doing something or you're not doing something. Trying doesn't really mean anything. I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it. And that's okay. Whatever you decide is okay. I will. Now, does this mean that you're going to go string yourself up if it doesn't happen? No. What it means is that this is adaptable, this is flexible, but you're still making the contract on the front end. Because what we're trying to do here, more than anything, more than doing any of this stuff, is to change the view of yourself and how you're interacting with your process. That's what we're doing here. So I will consistently roll my feet, pre-run, post-run, measurable. Will continue to keep my calves stretched and pliable 2 times per week. She's going to roll them. I will continue to get massage therapy bi-monthly. So here we got, she's losing 3 pounds of body fat. She also got body fat tested to make this happen. Keep a daily food log, home-cooked meals 5 times per week. Notice also what I like here is that she's cutting herself some slack. This is a woman who wants to get lean and mean for her race, but she's going to let herself maybe go out to eat a couple times. And so this is really mentally healthy, I think. Consume 2 bottles of water. There's a number here. Then we got, even for her mental training exercises, which I helped her process. So we're picking words and phrases that she's going to use during her activity that's going to help her focus how she sees herself within the activity. If you guys have any questions on it, let me know, because it's a really important exercise. She's practicing her exercises during the tough and challenging workouts, and she shows us here what that's going to look like. Identify words or phrases for each sport that resonate with me and keep me centered. So she's identifying the words, she's applying them during bike rides longer than 2 hours, runs 1 hour or longer, and she's going to use her phrases during races. Measurable, specific. You guys can do this, and I just did this. You can change this up however you want in 4-week increments. You can make more measurable results, but I actually recommend that you don't. I actually recommend you can get crazy here. If you're like me, you're going to be on the back with a pen going, oh yeah, I'm going to have a million goals. But what I want you to do is keep it succinct. This is who you are. You are these 3 things as your project, and you are going to do these things. And I'll tell you what, if you do these 9 things that allow you to stay focused, amazing. You're going to be totally stoked with yourself. If you start getting crazy and things, and believe me, if you look at the table back there with all my stuff on it, and I'll share some of that stuff in a minute, you kind of go like, wow, this woman is all over the board. Yeah, because I'm the person who needs to go, only 3, Terry, only 3, right? So I just recommend that, especially if you're somebody like me. Now, if you're working on trying to get in a couple here, then that's another thing that you want to kind of take a look at. So I think that, go ahead and click now. So what I want to do is I want to now just, we're in the Australia Outback again to kind of culminate the talk. I want to share a little bit about what I'm going to be doing with you all for Santa Cruz Challenge. And then I also want to share with you about what I'm up to in case there's, in my business, in case there's anything that you might want to come along with. And then if anyone has any questions or anything they want to share, we'll go from that. So Santa Cruz Challenge Triathlon Program, myself and Dave Leota, we both work with Santa Cruz Triathlon Association. We both coach athletes. So what I do in my coaching business is I coach endurance athletes. I'm not a trainer in a gym, but I work with runners, triathletes, adventure racers, cyclists, swimmers, that kind of thing. That's my background. So what I do is I do personal coaching, and I work with athletes creating their training program, working with them closely, day by day, week by week, getting them to whatever goals that they have in their life as an endurance athlete. What I'm going to do for Santa Cruz Challenge is we are going to have a triathlon that we're shooting for. Is it November 9th? 2nd. November 2nd. And it's a sprint triathlon in Morro Bay. You can sign up for this. You do not need to have been a triathlete prior. You do need to have a bicycle. You can borrow a bike. You can use a mountain bike. It doesn't really matter. We'll be talking about that. And you don't have to have any experience. You do have to know how to swim, some stroke. Okay? It doesn't have to be freestyle. People get out there and they got a little backstroke going on and a little breaststroke. That's okay. Yeah. Question. Good. Thank you very much. Actually, so it's always a little bit different. A standard sprint triathlon is half-mile swim, 12-mile bike, 2 or 3 mile run. Very doable. Very doable. Definitely. Yeah, very exciting. And I guarantee you that anyone in this room who decides they want to take this program on can do this. I absolutely guarantee you. I've seen lots of folks come on board and make this happen. Because what happens is this: you can walk the run. Because people come to me and they're like, I don't run, I can't run. Well, can you walk? If you can walk, then we got something to talk about. Then that's okay. That'll work. Most of us know how to ride a bicycle, so you need to know how to ride a bicycle, and you need to be able to get in the water and swim back and forth and make that happen. And so Dave and I are going to be coaching the triathlon program on Sunday mornings, and there's a schedule, and each week we're going to be covering a different event. Also during the week, Dave and I coach swim workouts at Simpkins Swim Center, and so we're going to be there coaching our workouts, and you guys can pop into those workouts when you can. So again, you guys can explain a little bit more on your end how that's going to work with them signing up and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Anyone have any questions on this? I mean, you probably have a lot of questions on that. I mean, here's what I would recommend, but I'll answer your question in a second. Next Sunday, we're having our first session, and again, it's going to be on the schedule. If you want to check it out, and we're going to be doing an intro talking about the program, what we're going to be doing. We're going to also do a run, walk, workout at that particular session. Show up at that session. You either can go ahead and go, yeah, I know I want to do this, I'm going to sign up, or you can show up and check it out. Is that okay if they do that, you guys? Okay, great. Yeah. Yes?
I wanted to know if the swim in the sprint is ocean or pool.
Ocean. Yeah. Morro Bay.
There's a stand-up paddleboard option.
Is there? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That is so cool. That's awesome. I had no idea. So you could stand up paddleboard instead of swimming. That's really a great idea. Very smart. That's awesome. All right, cool. Am I getting a hot flash? It's possible. It's totally possible. It's just like all of a sudden, woo! Anybody joining me? Anybody joining me on the hot flash? All right. So any other questions on right now on the triathlon thing? Again, either sign up or show up next Sunday. Yeah.
For next Sunday, is that an athletic thing, or are you talking about more like goal setting?
Yeah. So next Sunday, we are going to be doing a short running workout. So show up ready to run, but it's also going to be intro. So there'll be some chat time. We're going to share with you about the program, how it's going to look, how it's going to play out, and then we'll be doing a run workout. What time? 8:30. Yes, in the morning. I'm trying to remember, like I did this whole thing and we changed our location. Is it a SoCal track? Is that correct? I think it's a SoCal High School track, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, yes. 12 miles. Any other questions on the triathlon stuff? All right. So, yeah. Are we do? Tell me.
So basically, we want to do there's a half marathon in Calistoga on November 9th. And it's a race where you can actually wear headphones if you want, which is rare.
There's also a 5K to 10K.
And there's a 5K to 10K there. And so I thank you, Deborah. If we have enough people, Terry and Dave, who have trained people to do half marathons and 5 and 10Ks, will do an additional track in this. We've heard most people want to try the sprint triathlon, but and again, if people want to do a half marathon, we can do that on.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's some really great possibilities. We're trying to expand and offer you guys as much as you can, but we also want to see what people are into. We want to get a little feedback on that. Yeah.
Will some of the training cover body mechanics so we don't
Yeah.
get the rest
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at every session, when we're there coaching people, that's going on pretty constantly. That's part of what we're doing there. So running, workout, people are getting feedback on their form. We talk about that. Cycling, same thing. And the swimming, when you show up, we'll also do that as well. So yeah, that's really an important part of the coaching process, definitely. Yeah. We're not going to actually we don't have a planned swim training in the ocean. If there's enough people that want to make that happen, we could definitely schedule a session to make that happen. For the race, I recommend having a wetsuit because it's going to be in November in Morro Bay, and their water's a little bit warmer than ours, but not a lot. But you can rent wetsuits. Again, we're going to talk about all of that, how you can rent a wetsuit. So you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money. There are ways to kind of make this happen. But you do need a bicycle, and you'll need running shoes. Good, great. So just a couple quick things, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but you're welcome to check out what I have on the back table. So I coach and consult with athletes. I do sports psychology consulting as well. And I also will be so I started doing, several years ago, I started doing photography and on my travels. I've spent about 7 months in the country of Bhutan over the last 3 years. Anyone know where Bhutan is? Yeah, well, we got a few hands. Bhutan's a little tiny country right next to Nepal in northern India. If you're looking at a map, it's on the right-hand side of Nepal. And I do volunteer work there with the Bhutan Olympic Committee. So I go back to Bhutan. I started taking photos on my first trip there when I did an expedition crossing the country, trekking and mountain biking in 2011. And if you go to Open Studios, any Open Studios fans this year? So I'm doing Open Studios. There's cards on the back table. If you sign up for my email list, you're going to be automatically entered to potentially win a raffle prize after Open Studios this year. So hopefully some of you come, and I'll throw this out. If you come to Open Studios and you buy anything from me, and tell me you're from Santa Cruz Challenge, and I'll give you 10% off whatever you purchase. Okay? There you go. So that's one thing. If you have an interest, let's say you do the half marathon and you go, I want to do more half marathons and I want to do a little traveling with it. One of the things I've done, with the Bhutan Olympic Committee is I've helped them develop their first Bhutan International Marathon and half marathon. So maybe you want to go to Bhutan and do your next half marathon, right? Does that sound like a good plan? So one of the things that I'm doing in order to, as a fundraiser for the Bhutan Olympic Committee, and also to help me fund my trips to go back there, because I'm working with kids groups there, I'm working with women's in business groups there, I'm doing a lot of volunteer work in the country of Bhutan in various levels. So I offer trips, package trips, to go to some of the events that I'm working on there. Next year, I'm going to be taking a group to the marathon, half marathon, and then in the fall, I'll be going back for an event called Tour of the Dragon, which is a cycling event, as well as doing the Snowman Trek. Has anyone heard of the Snowman Trek? Google it, and you'll be blown away, definitely. So that's also some really exciting stuff. I have a couple books in the back on the table there. If you want to purchase those, just come find me and you can do that here. And also another exciting thing I have going on is I'm in the process of writing my next book right now. So very exciting. I think that's it. Any questions? Any questions for me or anything else for the ladies? Or thank you for coming. Very exciting.
It's going to be 12 times 6, is it, Bev? What's the price of Simpkins?
Oh, Simpkins to do lap swimming is $6.
$6. So,
Buy more tickets to get down to 450.
or you could get down to 450. So when you go to Simpkins to do the swimming training, you're going to have to pay somewhere between $4.50 and $6. Just so you know that.
Is that for the total residents or is that for?
I don't know. It's the county.
It's not
So that's extra expense. So I love that Terry's inviting everybody next Sunday morning, 8:30, probably 9:30, to come check out the overview of the triathlon track and come get a run in. She's going to be here afterwards if you have questions about that, and Michelle Lang can answer questions about that as well. And if you're interested in half marathon, come talk to me specifically. And then there's one thing I didn't mention. Deborah Johnson was such a big hit last year that people wanted to get more of her. So what she decided to do this time, it's on the calendar already, is that you can go deeper with some specific tools. And she's gifting them to Santa Cruz Challenge only. And so there's going to be a few, I think there's 4 sessions, an hour each or so. So you can sign up for that. You can come to all of them if you want. And it's on the calendar. The descriptions are in there. So like I said, I can't stress enough, this is such a dynamic program that you check the calendar frequently. You can every day check your app, read about things. Any questions, let us know. Okay, we're adding stuff all the time. Anything else?
Gosh, the last thing I'll say is I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so incredibly excited for this journey, the adventure that we're about to take. It's always really good. It keeps getting better and better and better. The energy that don't feel you guys. Really, I think in general is going to feel us coming for sure. And that's because of you guys. So I thank you so much for saying yes to yourselves. Starting with yourself, give yourself some slack, do what you want, feel excited, get excited. Stay with us, definitely stay with us, stay in communication with us. I always say this, Lita and I are going to be your biggest fans for the next 12 weeks. Okay, we are on your side. The entire community is on your side, and I think you guys will start to feel this, that you're going to find that everyone's feeling that way too. So